Hi, Steve Schlagel here. This video is part 2 of a series on how to get the funding you need to start your new business. And in the first video, we talked a little bit about how to minimize the amount of money or capital that you need to get your business started. But now that we've done the best we can, we get there and we still need some money that we haven't saved for. We need to start looking at ways to get lenders or investors involved in the business to provide that other capital that we need. And one of the first ways that some very small businesses get started is simply for the owner to use their credit cards. Now, before I talk about that, let me just back up and say, in my opinion, almost all debt that you get involved in, and even sometimes bringing on partners, investors, creates, in my mind, a slavery sort of thing. You've heard the phrase, don't be a borrower or a lender. You've also heard the phrase that says a borrower is a slave to the lender. And that's because you're stuck. You need to make those payments all the time. You have a serious need of cash flow to meet your obligations there. And so we don't want to borrow more than we absolutely need to, and we need to have a plan in place to get it paid back. I see too many businesses get started and the owner allows the debt to keep increasing and increasing because there's always another opportunity, and they never control the growth of that debt. And then one day the debt becomes too much for them and it causes the business to fail. So have a plan for paying it back and do it. Okay, that's really, really important. So credit cards is one way. I've seen a lot of small businesses be funded by using their credit card just to cover their short-term cash needs. The downside is if you don't make the payment, the interest rates are often exorbitantly high. So normally you really don't want to use that avenue if you can help it. If you know you'll always be able to pay it back the next month, then maybe occasionally it's a tool. The next source, and I think one of the better ones, is the local community bank, one of the local banks in your community. And the reason that they work out a little better is because the interest rates are usually pretty competitive, obviously far less than credit cards, but also the local banker knows you and knows your business probably, or will if you begin to do business with them. And they can really work with you to help you think through how you manage your debt. And they'll work with you on giving you advice that you need in order to manage that debt portfolio that you have in your business. They won't continue to lend to you if you get too far out of line, again, letting that debt grow and grow and grow. They'll cut you off, which seems like a bad thing at the time, but it's a good thing. They're trying to protect you and help your business to grow. So if you can develop a relationship with a small bank, that's a wonderful thing to do. And by the way, that's where a business plan comes into play. I don't like business plans from mapping out where the business is going to go from the beginning because it's never right. But a bank is going to need to know that you thought through the things that are in a business plan. So if you're going to go to a small bank on a startup business, you will need to bring a business plan with you, and you'll want to take a look at how you do that. We have some information on that on our website. SBA, Small Business Administration, insures those loans for some of the small banks to take some of the risk away and make it a little bit easier for you to borrow money to get your business started. So SBA financing can help to keep the interest rate down a little bit and make the bank more willing to deal with you. Family and friends, that can be another source of capital. However, I have a caveat there. If you borrow from family and friends, pretty soon they probably won't be your friends anymore. It invariably breaks down. It is the exception to the rule when borrowing from family and friends works out okay. Don't go there unless you absolutely have to. And then understand that you better put it in writing and keep it very formal, because a handshake, an agreement, whatever, that doesn't work. 6 months from now or a year from now, people forget. Write it down. It's more important to document it, I think, with family and friends than it is with the bank even, because you don't want to hurt those relationships with your family or friends. You want to keep them friends. But remember, don't go there if you don't have to. Partners. Lots of times people will ask me, should I bring a partner into my business? Because they can bring in some of the money and so forth. And that's true. But if you bring a partner in, you no longer often have full control over what you do. Even if that partner only has a small percentage of your business, you need to start thinking about their best interest in addition to yours as you carry the business forward. In addition, a partner is going to expect a much higher rate of return than a bank would. If you've watched some of my valuation videos, you know that most small businesses, the small business owner should expect a 20 to 33% return on their money. Well, the bank's not asking for 20 to 33%. So if you can avoid bringing a partner on just for financing purposes, avoid it at all costs. It's expensive financing. And then the time that it does make sense to bring the partner on is when you're trying to do something and you have a great weakness that you can't get filled by hiring somebody to shore up those things that you're not good at. In that particular situation, bringing a partner on who's going to share in the business venture can make some sense. But again, if you do, remember, you need to have a buy-sell agreement because partnerships don't last forever. And there has to be a way for the two of you to part ways sometime in the future in a logical and organized fashion that's determined value ahead of time. So never get into a partnership without a buy-sell agreement. If you don't know how to do that, check our website. We talk about buy-sell agreements and why they're important and what they need to have. And the last one is an investor. And I separate investors from partners this way. Partner is someone who's, I think, is involved in the business a little bit more. Investors are those who might just put cash into the deal. Could be an angel investor who can also give you some advice. It could be a private capital firm that expects some fairly significant returns and expects you to sell the business down the road. There's a lot of different ways that that can come together. Many different investor relationships. But remember what I said on partners. People who own equity in the business expect a substantial return on their money. So by going with partners or investors, they're going to look for some really big returns. So if you don't need to take them on, hire the help you need, borrow the money from the bank, try to avoid the partners and investors if you can. As the business grows and becomes significant in size, if that's a direction you're going, then at some point investors make some sense. But for the typical small business, not so much. Just some thoughts on how to do your funding for your small business startup. Thanks.